You don't have to throw yourself out of a moving car to feel like you're calling the ball. That's easy. You jump out of an airplane, you don't have choices after that. Maybe you play some chicken with the ground, but you pull the ripcord, you live. But if you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have walls, you have choices. And without walkers and bullets and shit hitting the fan, you're accountable for them. In hell, you're always accountable. It's just with all that other noise, you know people won't notice.
Hey everybody, we're back in another week of, wow, a little more of the romance Loving Dead we got a little bit. Mostly we got Inner City Dead this time around, it looked like. We got little of the Forest Dead, we got
Black Forest.
That forest was toasted, that's for sure. How come nobody ever saw that massive fire? Like, that would seem...
Well, that's a good point. I don't think it was done recently. I think that was the beginning of it. I think that was when... Because, I think they made it clear that it was at the beginning. They're going... Let's go in order. I mean, I'm getting off track here. Let's go ahead and start from the very beginning of this.
Yeah, well,
here,
first of all, I will say we keep talking week after week about how they're milking this season. At this point, come on, the cow is dry, right?
The milking bit.
I mean, but this would have been a very different way of telling the story up to now, from episode 1 to now, if this had been a movie and they had, say, like a 2.5 hour time limit. You know what I mean? They would have been more concise with it. I think the fact that they've got a TV series where they can draw it out and draw it out and draw it out, you know what I mean?
No, I disagree. I think this is one of the best episodes of the season.
Go ahead, defend.
Well, you're learning more about Abraham's character and Sasha's character, okay, which we really never get a chance to really see their characters in this situation. What I'm trying to say is, like, you can still see that Abraham is dealing with a lot of anger. The whole scene with the military guy hanging off the side with the rocket launcher, you can still see that he still has a lot of rage still.
Well, not only that, but when Sasha was telling him, you know, you're responsible for what you've done, well, that might not be the best thing to be saying to Abraham. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think what she was trying to say is that he's a good guy, but he is tired of thinking. And he just wants to act, and he's putting himself in situations where he doesn't have to think anymore, which endangers not only them, but himself. And so what I think what the whole discussion really was doing is basically telling him what they were telling her when she was losing it before the church scene in previous episodes, is get your shit together because you are losing it, basically.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, he was taking unnecessary risks. That's what he was doing.
Well, but then he was taking unnecessary risks, running out of the car and doing all that shit. So the both of them seem to be having that unnecessary risk factor.
I think Sasha's over it now. I think she's done. She's now back. She went through a little episode. I think.
Yeah. Well, she found Jesus.
Considering considering everything that she lost, she went through a very minor episode. You know, because Rick lost less than she did.
She lost
her brother. She lost Bob. You know what I mean? She lost the group that she was running with not long before they got to the prison.
Let's not diminish what Abraham has lost. He lost his wife. He lost 2 kids, right? Mm-hmm. And also he lost all hope when he had the only mission that was keeping him alive. When he found out that the trip to Washington was going to be a waste because there's no government going on, and that the scientist that ended up being a teacher lied to him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he lost everything.
Yeah, literally, he lost.
I mean, he was willing to kill himself before he ran into the scientist, a.k.a. the teacher.
Yeah. No, he was ready to be done right then and there.
Well, that's a good point, because in the comic book, his wife and daughters were raped. In this episode, it looked like they ran off.
Yeah, they ran off and got ate.
Well, no, they also ran off. They also ran off in the comic book. Except in the comic book, they were raped. And then they saw what the dad or husband did to the rapist, and then they were just as scared of him as they were of the people who created the crime.
Which was kind of an underlying tone in that episode. That clearly what he had done was like that was something he needed to do to defend his wife and daughter. Now, we don't know what all they did. Perhaps that rape and everything happened. It's just never been mentioned here.
It just shows them a point where they ran off after he killed the guy. So
and they saw like what a monster in their eyes, what a monster he'd become, and they hadn't dealt with this world enough yet to understand that. Holy crap, we really, this is what you need to become. But they never understood his soldierdom. I don't think. And I think that's the way it is with a lot of families that stay home while their loved ones go overseas and see horrors that we couldn't even imagine. Forget about the zombie apocalypse. War is bad enough, and people come back and nobody really understands what they went through. And they couldn't. You can't unless you're in it.
Yeah, and I was really more intrigued with the whole Sasha and Abraham scenes. The whole thing with Daryl, I could, like you said, it could be cut in half and got the same results. I mean, with that storyline. But I think they really needed what they did with the Sasha and
Well,
Abraham
the one thing
story.
with the Daryl thing I'd like to say is that I think they needed a way to introduce these new villains, and that was a great way to give us a taste of them. In a way that...
Well, I'm not sure if they've actually introduced new villains. I mean, I'm assuming they are certain characters from the comic book, but at the same time, the three people, the two girls and the guy that stole the crossbow, they seem to be stealing stuff from everybody and saying that they've earned it, that they took it because they could. So, I mean, maybe they were just, regular folks that were surviving as a group and these three were stealing from them. Or it could be a whole new different colony.
I think that they touched on a few too many quirks, like the thing about kneeling and all the stuff they were doing for it to be just, you know what I mean, like a side shot, like it wasn't going to be anything they're going to have to deal with in the future. Now, another thing that it could be, though, because, again, we're not really sure exactly where they are, but if you ever played the Telltale video game, Season 2 of the Walking Dead Telltale video game, there was a small community that they dealt with in that as well, and these people very well could be that group. Again, they pull from a lot of different things. They rewrite things that are not in the comic book. They change the order that they happen in the comic book. Why not reach outside the universe if you've got some quality characters?
That is true.
But don't you notice that these characters are a little bit weaker? Now, I mean, come on, these three people, if they've been around 2 years during this whole zombie apocalypse, they must have been in some kind of protection because they're not as hard. I'm trying to say. They're not as tough as Rick and his group.
They should have shot Daryl the first time they seen him. If they thought he was who they think he was, they shouldn't. What keeping him around? Trading him? Nobody's trading you for anything.
Yeah,
well, no. They were talking in case they were caught by the group that they could trade him back to them for their freedom.
The group isn't the group they escaped from is not going to trade them for any. They're not going to trade anything to them for a person. They would just assume kill the other person. At least, again, I'm just speculating. I don't know this group.
I understand that's our assumption,
Yeah.
but we don't know from their perspective as the characters go.
Yeah.
And we're not sure this is a group you're thinking either. I don't think it is. It's not there yet. We're getting there, though. I mean, we're all talking about Negan. We already know that.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, possibly the video game. And I would love to see them bring these characters in there because they're a super strong character. This colony, their leader. I don't want to give anything away if this does turn out to be what it is. But, I mean, this is something that really would be great to dive into in this series. And, man, they're totally fit for this series. So...
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up. I mean, is that something they could do? Could they draw from the video game?
It all takes place in Georgia. At the beginning of the video game, you come across Glenn as he's on his way to Savannah, and he ends up being detoured into Atlanta. And you come across Herschel's farm. You see what happened to Maggie's brother, Sean, how he got attacked.
It's the same universe.
It's the same universe. Mm-hmm. And it's not only the same universe, but it's kind of the same neighborhood. So, again, I don't know. The trouble with the comics and the TV show and the video game, I have no idea where they actually are right now. I have a general idea, but I don't know in the comic book where they were. And I know they were heading north. They were doing a lot of the things just like they are in the show, but I don't know, like, the time frame. It's so hard because they leave all that very ambiguous. So.
I have a very very strong feeling that, I mean, we're definitely gonna. This whole season is definitely about Alexandria surviving the wolves and the zombie attacks, and we definitely know that the people that were shooting at Daryl and at Sasha and Abraham, I mean, they had guns and the wolves did not have guns, and it really sets up the next season or the second half of the season to be about Negan, which is a very strong character. I don't want to go into detail, but.
No, but that's kind of what I'm hoping. Is I hope.
It's happening.
Launching it for the second half. That's what I
think. I'm speculating that this new group of people is actually Negan, but I don't know for.
Which is great. I'm totally good with that too. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And they don't need, like, I understand you guys are saying there's another group in the comic. They don't need that necessarily. They could jump right to this guy. I don't know.
The Hilltop is definitely going to happen. You can't do the Hilltop and go right into Negan. You need the Hilltop to tell Negan's story. Don't you agree, or am I wrong?
No, I'm with you on that one. Now, I want to ask, when Sasha and Abraham went into the apartment/office, who's Dixon? Is that Daryl's last name?
Yeah, that's
Daryl's last name. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Daryl and
that threw me off.
Fan of the
why is she writing Dixon?
She needed him to know where to go. You know.
Yeah. X marks the spot.
Pretty much. That was a big ass X, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think she's had a career in porn. But how about this with, when they started getting chased by those guys, Daryl crashes on his bike. And again, open wound, nasty ass walker infested forest.
No penicillin.
No penicillin. But again, no infection. These guys, I think there should be something touched on that says how the dead virus fights infection, because clearly that is better than Neosporin.
Yeah, I mean, they're walking around with their clothing covered in old.
They're not washing their clothes.
Zombie crud, and then it dries up. It gets crusty. Then they cut themselves, but that crustiness never enters the wound or causes them to transform.
Nobody's had any gangrene. Nobody's had. There's so many things that would come up from this.
I mean, at the very least,
wash at Alexandra. Have we seen that happen?
Something. Now that's a question too. How come nobody's getting any hand purifier when they go on these runs? You think that would be the one thing you'd be like, dude, I'm bringing back as much Purell as the place got.
At the very least, as a shower.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Worst comes to worst. And speaking of the forest and stuff. I never knew this, but I think that it's a good thing if you're ever lost, and you need to know, moss grows on the north side of the walker, does it not?
Moss grows on the north
side of the walker. Nobody thought that when they saw that swamp walker coming?
No.
Oh, come on. You guys are weak.
I don't go camping.
I thought you're comedians, damn it.
I'm sorry. As soon as you said Moss and the guy walking down the forest, I was thinking of Moss Man from He-Man in the 1980s.
Oh, wow.
You lost me.
Comics. Oh, my God.
You guys lost me. I'm sorry. I'll take it. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
You never heard of Moss Man? I never even heard of He-Man. Yeah.
The comic, I'm talking about what Ross is talking about.
No, but the zombie, you saw him walk right out of the forest. He literally was covered in moss. I thought that was cool. I was like, hey, man, he's the tree. He's Treebeard, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just the shit that I was thinking. Clearly, nobody else saw it. No, any of the listeners, you guys seen it? Comment if you think that I'm full of shit, or, if I'm 100% right.
You're full of shit.
I didn't ask you.
How awesome is it that Abraham found a rocket launcher?
Oh,
come on! That was a gimme. They had to. How's it gonna do with the herd?
Oh no!
Well, the other thing too.
They don't need the rocket launcher for the herd. I already know what's gonna happen with the herd.
Well, that's why they found the fuel truck.
Yeah, they're gonna use that fuel truck and create a fire in the forest, like they did in this episode, which was a foreshadowing of what was to come.
Absolutely.
And then attract the zombies towards the forest burning. At the same time, that's gonna attract the other zombies.
Now, how many of you picked up on the fact that the truck was Patty?
What do you mean, Patty?
Patty was the person they were looking for. Remember? They were like, oh, well, that's what I thought it was a person. They're like, oh, what about Patty? We need to go get Patty.
Oh, no.
And it was the truck that they were actually coming back for. Remember, they even came back. They're like, it's not here.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was on. Patty was on the license plate.
I didn't catch that.
Man, I'm doing apocalypse. I'm doing the zombie apocalypse podcast with people that aren't even paying attention to the zombie
That's
podcast.
why you're the guy running the show.
Y'all are getting bit. That's all I can tell you, man.
I was tell you the truth. The only part I was thinking about The Walking Dead when Daryl and the two girls and the one guy let's get the nightfall so let's get some action. That's what I was hoping for.
The idea that Daryl would have turned his back on those people for even a second doesn't seem like Daryl to me. I don't know, that's just me.
No, but at the same time, they had plenty of opportunities to shoot him, and they didn't. So he knew that deep down inside they were good people. If they were going to shoot him, they would have shot him already.
I think
well, like he says, if they don't shoot you right away, they're never going to pull the trigger. Kind of thing,
if they're going to shoot you, they're going to do it. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, if you feel he's going to be a threat.
That's what I would have done. I would have been like, "Oh, you're one of those guys." Boom! I wouldn't even. There's no conversation. There's no bringing you with us. There's nothing, because anybody that you in this world, you can't control anyone. You know what I mean? To where you can guarantee that you're going to protect yourself. And having it all goes back to what I can't think of the guy's name, but the guy that was in the cabin with
Eastman.
With Tyrese. When he was telling him, "What are you keeping me alive for? What are you even talking to me for?" You know what I mean? That whole thing. They should have never brought Daryl along. And it's funny because he's like, "Yeah, I'm never going to trust you people. It was wrong to trust you people, but I'm going to keep you alive because, I kind of trust you." It's like, no, man, just they should have taken him out right away. You know what I mean? But if they did, they would have absolutely been captured by that other group.
It's also it's also depends if it's within their nature. I just find it incredible that they see walkers and they know they can take them. But instead of confronting them, they just decide to go on with their way. And what they're allowing is all these weapons to just walk around and kill some other innocent people when they could have taken care of it themselves. I mean, there's no responsibility on their part.
Which is sort of what Abraham was trying to do. He wanted to run down the street and take out that one walker.
Yeah, and Sasha stopped him. Imagine if that walker ends up killing Rick Grimes or someone else in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let it go.
And I found it interesting. Oh, and also having diabetes in the apocalypse. Come on, that's not going to be an easy.
Oh no, but I'm surprised that they took them that long to cover that, because you would think that there would be more than one person with diabetes walking around.
Well, my problem is, how do they keep all this stuff refrigerated for so long? I hope they show where the medical facility is. It still has refrigeration going.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where it's better to have it than not have it at all.
Yeah, but if you have some bad stuff, that's worse than having it. That's worse than not having it. So,
well, another thing to keep in mind is, you're eating mostly good stuff. You're not eating a lot of junk food, so your diabetes is probably under control for all the real fiber that you're eating.
That is true. Unless you have a diabetes where your sugar goes low, in which case you need something to kind of pick it up, and that's, again, it's not easy. It's not easy to manage something like that in a world where you can't guarantee any of your meals. You might go hungry for 3 or 4 days. I just found that interesting that. Here's this girl that survived all this shit. The minute they hook up with Daryl, she's bit.
Well, that's why you carry a potted plant that grows strawberries.
Yeah, always.
Always carry fruit on you.
If strawberries don't stop zombies, what's going to? You know what I'm saying? What about Abraham and his loose ends? Talk about loose ends make his ass itch.
Yeah, I think
in the apocalypse. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that Abraham. I think he realized that he was putting himself in danger on purpose when he was trying to grab the rocket launcher, and in almost getting bit a couple of times, he realizes that this is not the way, and he finds peace, and he ends up getting the rocket launcher anyways.
No, I'm talking, though, when he's having the conversation with Sasha, and she's like, "What are you doing this?" He's like, "Yeah, loose ends make my ass itch," was his comment. And I'm sorry, but when you're in the apocalypse, you got nothing but loose ends. You got untied shit left and right that you don't get to do because you're on the run, you're trying to survive. You know what I mean? It seems like loose ends would be all this guy's life.
There you go. It's absolutely true, but that's how he worked, though. and she's telling her to chill this shit out for a little bit. That's
chill this shit out just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just chill out, man. Come on, enough's enough. You know. But that was the whole point. That's why I really liked their story. I thought it was going a little overboard. He's trying to make a move on her. Like, come on, man. It would have been cool without it. But, hey, he is a guy. You know.
Well, I do like that his move had absolutely no cool to it. You know, I appreciate that, because not everybody's suave. You know, in this world, most people don't have those skills. In a zombie apocalypse, even less. The survivors of this world would not be the romance artists. The survivors are going to be the crazy tough guys that don't have game, you know?
The guys walking around saying, hey, those look great in that sweater.
There's a reason everybody's not fucking, you know, because anybody that's running around looking for sex all the time is gone. You're just going to get ate.
It's crazy.
How long do you think that fence zombie was hanging there?
Had to be for a while. Yeah, had to.
Quite a while, actually, because your body does melt and become mushy after a while. That
was cool. I love that.
And I love, though, that he probably was dormant, you know, because he couldn't move, he couldn't get away. And like they said with Michonne zombies, once they lose the ability to eat, they kind of lose the motivation. So I can understand that he was hanging there, probably motionless for a year or more, maybe.
You can say the same thing about those two zombies that were wrapped in that plastic casing.
Oh, totally.
That was glass. That was glass.
That was glass. That was the glass from the greenhouse came down and melted over them.
Oh.
They were preserved like the most valuable comic you've ever owned.
I gotta say, the writers need to start getting on their game again, because I mean, I saw the death of that poor woman coming a mile away.
Oh, totally. Especially when she started walking between them. It's like, what are you looking at?
That's what I mean. It's like you would think that
you
even
no
Daryl would be
business
like, hey, you might not want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. She probably thought it was cool.
Daryl was there for Herschel, and you can see how a zombie that you think is dormant can, boom, spring to life without any warning. So,
yeah, it's true.
Now, I will say though, when he was up on that fence, didn't he have a knife with him? Didn't he have some way of disposing of that? Because he always had his knife. Why not dispose of that zombie before he was going after the gun? You know, rather than the screaming match that he needed.
Again, I think that is when he realized that he was starting to lose it, when he was not taking proper precautions.
Yeah, I think maybe that is something that kick-started him.
Yeah.
And how happy is Eugene now? Rosita is available.
Whoa, when did they break up?
No,
well,
Rosita.
If Abraham's hitting on Sasha.
No, Rosita's going out with, what's the name of his daughter?
She's flirting with the fence guy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna hook up.
Yeah, but it hasn't been official that Abraham and Rosita have broken up.
No, they haven't. And yeah, you know, never cut off your options in this zombie apocalypse, because you don't have a lot of options.
You got that right. You should be getting her flowers, dude. Don't try to make a move on somebody else and let you know for sure.
Absolutely, you know.
Take it from me.
But it was interesting. I kind of liked the way that you could see that although Sasha wasn't saying that she was totally into it, you could see her brain at work, that it was something she would consider. Now, how many weeks ago did she lose Bob?
It's been a while, man.
It's not been that long. It's not. At most, it's been a couple months.
Well, to be honest with you, The Walking Dead does a terrible job of telling you how much time has passed. Unless that is done on purpose, then they're doing a great job, because nobody really has a calendar, nobody has a clock, nobody has a watch.
Right. But at the same time, when they left that church to go to Terminus to get to Alexandria, that's not an enormous amount of time. You know what I mean? Even with downtime. So say it was 5 months ago. You know what I mean? Is that enough time to get over somebody that you're in love with?
I think it can be if everybody around you is dying and you just look at them as temporary people.
So you can't dilly-dally in the apocalypse.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes. I think enough time. 2 hours is enough time.
To me, 5 minutes is enough. That fucker's dead. You want to suck my dick? You know, that's the way I would see it.
Look at Rick. I mean, he lost his wife. The son had to kill his own mom. They took the baby out. Then he kills the husband of that other woman. The husband's not even dead a week, and they're already hooking up.
He's like, look, I know I killed your dick husband, but come on.
That's some alpha male shit, though. That's some alpha male kind of shit.
Yeah, he was staking a claim is what it was.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he was going to kill that fucker. I'm gonna get that woman. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill him. And he did. He did.
And then the whole idea about the couple that screws over Daryl at the tail end of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, there's another group of people that don't understand who they're messing with. What do you think? Is that going to change? You know, Daryl was all about, let's find people and save them. Do you think that's going to affect that at all?
No, but he's going to deal with those two.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, he's a tracker. Yeah. Eventually, it's like that guy that you called Michael J. Fox from last time that just ran away from the forest.
Yep.
Ended up getting killed in the same episode that Glenn dies, supposedly.
Yep. Episode called "Thank You."
Thank you.
See, I'm doing my research now. I'm getting it together, man.
Well, I don't care what anybody says. I am fine with doing with Glenn. I will hope they will continue not talking about it. Just let it go.
Absolutely. Every time they don't discuss him, I get happier and happier because I know people are going crazy over it.
Yeah, I called a long time ago. I said it'd be nice if they don't touch on it.
I would love that.
Oh, could you imagine if they never go back to Glenn? Like, you don't see him alive, you don't see him dead, you don't see him as a zombie. You just never hear from Glenn, and then now everybody's going to be like, well, I wonder what happened to Glenn, and then people just stop talking about him. And then he appears maybe 2 seasons later.
It could happen. I'm fine.
Oh, rough and crazy. I would love that. Like, come back like a Merle kind of thing from out of nowhere.
Yeah, but as a zombie, like 2 seasons later, and then here's the walking Glenn.
Dude.
But I don't know. Wouldn't he be like so rotted? Would they still recognize him?
No, I think if they do, he's going to come out of nowhere. Honestly, at this point, he will be back this season. Maybe part of the cliffhanger for season 7. I don't know, but he'll be back. It's just I don't know how they're going to save him because clearly they got something planned.
Well, I actually hope he is dead.
I agree with you. I hope that they have the courage to do that. Not that I want the character to die. I love the character. But I like the continuity. I like the idea that this is a tough world. And even the people you love, they're not going to be immune to it forever.
Exactly. Nobody's safe.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. And, man, if Glenn died like that from out of nowhere, wouldn't that up the ante for everybody? Like now, literally, you're like, well, maybe they could kill Rick. Maybe they could kill, and you start to think of this in this completely different way.
Now I wonder. I mean, this is an early prediction. Eventually, the show is going to end.
I hope so.
2 more seasons. 2 more episodes, and then the new season. But are you talking about the show itself or the season?
The series,
the whole series, the end of the series. Do you think that Rick's going to make it to the end? Because you might go. We're jumping ahead of the comic book maybe at this point, but do you think they're actually going to go that far? Like this guy has to make it to the end of the series, or could the show go on without him?
As long as the comic book keeps selling well and the TV show keeps getting ratings, they feed off each other.
Well, but eventually you're going to have to think that Andrew Lincoln is going to want to do, like, as much as you love the show, as much as you love the character, after a certain amount of time, you do start to get burned out on it. It's exhausting.
Are you talking about like the directors and the producers and all that?
No, I'm talking about the actor. I'm talking Andrew Lincoln. I'm talking the guy playing Rick himself.
Oh, I see.
Like how long can you go? Because this is a very demanding role.
It's a very demanding role, but it's a cash cow. It's guaranteed
cash
work.
Cow, and you know what?
I agree, but how long does it go before the guy's like, look, I've done this thing for 10 years now. Enough's enough.
Well, look at the actor Aaron who plays Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. It's not like the movie roles were knocking at his door. He did Need for Speed, and then that was the end of him.
Exactly.
Well, but Andrew Lincoln's a theater actor. He could easily go back to his old life in a minute and get
you know
hired.
what? Here's the thing. Here, as an actor, I believe this. The actors today are learning. Hey, this is the most popular show right now. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I'm gonna ride this out because I can tell you what. Yeah. Look at the cast of Lost. That was a big ass show for a long ass time. Who's still making money now from that after that show?
And don't think that people are not replaceable. I mean, if you look back at the Munsters. The young lady who looks normal, what's her name?
Marilyn. She got changed out.
Marilyn. She was in for she was a different actress in the first half of the first season, and then they replaced her, and nobody could tell the difference. You can always just find another actor that looks similar with some acting skills.
Small time right there. You want to talk about Samantha's husband in Bewitched.
I just said that.
Like
yeah.
3 seasons in, they changed his ass. Nobody knows. Even his own parents didn't know.
That's one. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I would say he's going to stay on the show as long as it's successful, because we don't know what's going to happen after. He's making a lot of money. He may make it afterwards doing films. Who doesn't know? But I tell you what, I will have no problem doing 8 years of freaking Walking Dead. Yep. You know, I don't care. It's for the summer. It's a summer damn job. I can do films when the off season. I can make my career work. Try to do other things. That's on him. He may be content enough that I can do this for a while. Then when I'm done with this, I'll do theater. We don't know what his game plan is. But
you don't know what his game plan is. But that's what I'm saying is people can change their mind, and at a certain point, he can be like, "Look, I just don't want to negotiate another 2 years on this show." You know what I mean? And then at that point, they might start rethinking. Hey, you know what? Maybe we can actually take him out. Maybe we can change this. Maybe we can do that. You know, because at the same time when Rick is ready to go, and this is something I'm surprised hasn't been an issue for him already, Carl should be big enough to where he could take over that role if they did like another 2 or 3 seasons. Like, I can't believe, you know, it's amazing to me that child actors don't suddenly get this growth spurt that all of a sudden it's like, well, it's a different guy.
Oh, I think it would be fantastic if every season they fire the kid that plays Carl and they hire another kid to keep
hire a new kid. Carl.
Or they can do the soap opera
like
route.
9 forever. You look like you're 17 already. Fired.
Exactly.
It's like soap
give them the Bart Simpson syndrome.
Soap operas are notorious to make a child grow like almost a teenager within like in 3 years of his birth. So they could do it. It's true. That's what they do on soap operas.
Well, I imagine they're swapping out the babies quite often for the child. You know, they constantly got to bring new ones in to make them look fresh, because those fuckers grow fast like a puppy.
When have you seen the baby in this episode? They stopped showing the little kid.
They stopped showing the kid for the most part. But if they ever use it, you know, they're going to have a new baby, because the kids can't be 5 already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So last part of the show, the truck, they pick up Abraham. Everybody's driving away in the truck. Who called for help?
It wasn't Glenn. I'll say that.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't Glenn. The voice sounded very distressed. It certainly wasn't the 2 people on the bikes, which I kind of thought, well, why? Maybe they grabbed the radio out of the backpack, but I kind of don't, you know what I mean? I don't know if that happened.
Okay, so who has a radio? That's the first question. Who has radios? Rick?
I don't think it's anybody that we've seen.
Oh, it could be Michonne's group. No, they made it back to the town.
They did, yeah, they did. By this point in the story, they would have made it back to the town.
Yeah, but at the same time, these past 4 episodes have been happening simultaneously, so we don't know if it's taking place right now or a few episodes back.
Right. Well, you know that this thing started just after Daryl got back with them and now is back on the road with the zombies. But it took a whole day, didn't it, before he got to the point where he found the walker with the rocket launcher? That's almost like a rap song right there. The walker with the rocket launcher. I don't know.
All right. So, okay, let's make a prediction. Okay, so we got a tanker, rocket launcher. What are they going to do? How do you think they're going to use these items?
I think they're going to save the rocket launcher for last. They're going to use the tank to burn the forest and attract the zombies to go and burn themselves, just like they did in this episode.
Do we take them back to the quarry and burn them?
No, I don't think that's practical. I think what they do is what the people said in the last episode, is that you start the fire and it will attract them to it. And you just kind of like moths to the flame, just let them come and get burned.
The problem with doing that is it also attracts not only those particular dead, but new dead, and then also other people and other colonies that might be nearby. And that fire might actually be the reason why we get introduced to Negan.
It could be.
That would make sense. That's
and that's awesome. I love that. If they went that far out of the box where they're like, yeah, let's have.
I mean, it's what makes sense, and even if we don't get to see Negan, it might introduce the hilltop, which then introduces Negan.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the beginning of the hilltop, in my opinion.
Okay,
definitely. I think
so
the
we've got some good predictions.
The second half of this season, and then Negan's going to be the next season, season 7.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. I guarantee that's what they're going to do.
Well, that would make sense. Like obviously with me, I haven't got caught up on the comic books yet, but that would make sense. If there is this other thing they need to deal with, why not make it the second half of this season? Now, I was talking to Tony the other day, right after the show aired, actually last night, and I was saying that I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if they cut out this other thing you were talking about altogether and they just bring them up sooner? It would make sense in going with the nature of Walking Dead that they would have launch us into that for the second half of this season for that the hilltop place you guys are talking about, and line us up for just like how they did for Woodbury. They got everything ready for Woodbury, and then boom, the next season we got to deal with Woodbury.
Well, it's not to the benefit of the Milking Dead. To rush the story. I mean, they have to allow the comic book to continue writing so they can feed off the comic book and stretch out certain events as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I believe that we need the hilltop in the second half of the season to understand what they do. We're introduced to Negan's group, and then we meet Negan, and then we deal with shit in season 7. So I think that's what this whole season is gearing up is. We're getting ready for Negan for season 7. That's crazy. We're watching episodes, get ready for the real shit, which is going to be in season 7. That's,
let me tell you something. Unless they fuck it up with like they did with the governor, the whole Negan event, it's going to be fantastic. All out war.
I have to say one thing. I wonder how they're going to deal with the language.
I know. Negan. I was just thinking that.
Maybe we're gonna do Jerry Springer, and there's gonna be a lot of beeping coming up next season. I
don't know if this is stupid or not, but I kind of like it. Battlestar Galactica made up their own bad word, which is frack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could they do that with The Walking Dead and it won't be cheesy? Could he? I mean, I kind of like that. I don't know.
Well, it's like Lobo from DC Comics. Are they gonna say what the frag? Frack. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna switch his personality where. He's still as crazy as he is in the comic book, but the twist is he can't stand people that use bad language.
Ooh, play off the other thing he has a problem
when people
with.
get an attitude around him, then he takes it to the next level.
That would be a great way to address it. You know, if it's something that you can't do easily on the show, you need to come up with a way to address it.
Just like the governor in the comic book, they had the eye patch in different sides of the face from the TV show.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Well, we're getting there. And,
we certainly are, and we made a lot of predictions that are coming forward.
And I'm gonna say this time, this is the episode I've been waiting for next Sunday.
Or maybe the one after that.
Or maybe the one after
that.
Or
the one after that. Or the one after that.
I remember.
We have two more for this first half of the season. Then we're back in February, which will also be coming back right around the same time when Better Call Saul is coming back. So it's going to be a conflict of podcasts. And so we're going to see what happens as we go forward.
It has to go nuts now. It has to.
I'm ready.
What about the first season of Fear the Walking Dead? Is that getting split, or was that the whole season that we just watched?
That was the whole season.
Episodes. Just like they did with the first season of The Walking Dead, 6 episodes just to test the water. In the next season, they're doing a full 16 episodes.
Like I always ask, could you imagine what we could do if a network or a television station said, "You got 6 episodes, impress us"?
Wow, I remember back in the day where a whole season was 24 episodes.
They still do them. They still do them.
They still do them for regular shows, but you're talking a cable channel, you know what I mean? And personally, I don't want them to do 24 episodes of The Walking Dead a season. It won't have the same impact. They can't keep up that kind of pace. I love that they kind of each week, like they do these at a breakneck pace, but then they'll stop and they'll be like, okay, let's pull back a little, and they get to catch up and get ahead of themselves a little bit. And I like the way they do it. I have no problem with the intermission. I know a lot of people don't like the intermission.
I wouldn't call it an intermission. They had lots of zombie attacks throughout the whole episode.
No. I'm talking about from the end of the 2 episodes from now when they stop it and then it comes back in February. I have no problem with that.
I have to admit, I do like it that they actually split the season in half.
Yeah, I got no problem.
It gives me something to watch later on.
But I hate it, though. I have to wait till February. It's a pain in the damn ass, all right?
It makes his ass itchy.
It makes my ass itch.
Unfinished seasons make my ass
Now I tell you what, the next time The next time I'm picking up a chick, I'm going to start it with the itchy ass comment and see how that works out.
Just watch Titanic when you do it, that's all.
Yes, absolutely. Grab a titty. All right, we're going to wrap this up here. Is there anything else you guys want to cover?
We didn't introduce ourselves in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Ross. I do the show, and then the guys working with me.
Hi,
Tony?
I'm Tony LaMarr out of Austin, Texas.
You can reach Tony at where?
At Tony_LaMarr.
Yeah, you started to creep me out, okay? I'm going to get you a restraining order where you can't use that voice on the show anymore. And Mr. J, come on, give him your info.
I'm the legendary Mr. J. You can find me on YouTube under Comic Book Nerd Out or CBNO.
Absolutely. And that's our introductions.
Yeah.
Rewind back to the beginning of the show if you want to experience this in the right order.
Definitely.
Or, you can just keep it going.
And you ladies, feel free to give Ross a call because he's available right now.
He needs it.
Yep, he likes to be tickled.
Hey, will she tickle me there? All right, you guys will hear what that is in the near future. Right. So, great.
Okay, ready to do it for real now?
What?
I thought that was a practice.
Oh, we can. You want to do it again?
Were we supposed to record that?